Hello again. Thanks for watching this video and studying your math with COD. Today's topics are important but largely review. Specifically, the distance formula will be essential immediately in Chapter 2.2. Remember to read your book, as the examples in your book are different than the ones we do, and to pause and play the video to test your understanding as we do our examples. Last but not least, get help from at least one of the many support options available if you need it. We will be talking about ordered pairs. An ordered pair consists of two components written inside parentheses, but the word ordered means order matters. 3, 5 does not mean the same thing as 5, 3. Here is our first guided study note example. Pause the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. The answer should be transportation 12153 and healthcare 4917, and a graph of this would tend to be a bar chart rather than a plot. Normally though, we're going to be plotting things on the X and Y axis. The X is the horizontal axis. These are the positive numbers. These are the negative numbers. And the Y axis goes vertically. These are the positive numbers. These are the negative numbers. And we call the point 0, 0 the origin. We will plot points with the X coordinate first and followed by the Y coordinate. To locate a point, then 3, 4 would be go out 3 in the right direction and up 4 to get 3, 4. If we were to go -2 and then down 4, that would be the point -2, -4. This gives rise to the distance formula if we have a first point called x1, y1 and a second point called x2, y2. This is the formula for the distance formula and should be committed to memory. It is derived by looking at the first point and the second point and realizing that we have a right triangle involved, and so we apply the Pythagorean theorem to derive and prove that this is the correct formula. Another guided study note example here. Pause the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. The answer should be square root of 194. The converse of the Pythagorean theorem is also true. So if A, B, and C of a triangle, those sides, the lengths of the sides, satisfy this relationship, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, that means it is a right triangle. We will use this to do another guided study note example. Hit the pause button on the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. This is not a right triangle because if I square the legs, I get a different value than if I square the length of a hypotenuse. Using a similar procedure, we can tell whether 3 points are in a line or not. They are in a line if the distance from the first to the second plus the distance from the second to the third is the same as the distance from the first to the third. We apply that in another guided study note example. Pause the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. And they are collinear because this distance is 2 times the square root of 2. This distance is 8 the square root of 2. The distance from here to here is 10 the square root of 2. We also have a midpoint formula. And the midpoint formula asserts that the midpoint is at the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. We're going to apply that in classroom example 5. This is from your guided study notes. Pause the video now, do the problem, then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. The answer to A is -9/2, 4. And the answer to B is 0, 12. Another guided study note example here. Pause the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. So the midpoint is 2011, 130.7, and 130.7 billion is very close to the 130.6 billion. We also will be looking at equations in two variables, the x's and y's, and to be on the graph, the x's and y's must satisfy the equation of the graph. Here, what we're being asked to do is another guided study note example. Pause the video now, do the problem, then hit play to check your answer. Let's see how you did. Here, notice I picked 0 for x and 0 for y each time. I'll explain why I did that later. You could have picked different numbers, but if you picked any of these, you would have gotten these answers. And a lot of this course is about graphing equations, so we're going to be looking at ordered pairs. The intercepts, places where it hits the y-axis and the x-axis, are called x-intercept and y-intercept, are important. An x-intercept is a point where the graph intersects the x-axis. That means that the y is 0. A y-intercept is a point where the graph intersects the y-axis. That means the x is 0. Here's a recipe for graphing, and basically you pick some points and then connect the dots. Here is another guided study note example. Pause the video now, do the problem, and then hit play to check your answers. Let's see how you did. And here are some answers to these problems. This chapter concludes with a discussion of graphing using graphing calculators. While using technology is a good thing, and I use it extensively in some classes I teach, it's used sparingly in this class. So do some of the problems that are assigned in your homework. You can check out graphing calculators in the Math Assistance area, and Trith can show you how to use them a bit in GSG. And accordingly, an earnest student will embrace this learning opportunity, but you will not be assessed on this graphing calculator knowledge within our course. To close, remember, time is precious. Each day must count. Do the math. It will make you strong. Take care. I look forward to seeing you in class.